Have you ever wondered, when researchers collect data on extreme longevity, how do they decide which data to include and which to exclude? Do they only take those who have already died, or do they also include those still alive? If someone is 110 years old but still alive, their data is incomplete. If someone reached 110 in 1950 but died then, where does their data come from? These aren't just technical questions, they are the foundation of every study on extreme longevity. If we don't know the answers to these questions, we can draw wrong conclusions from the data. And that's why IDL's data collection procedures are just as important as the data itself. IDL's job is to collect individual data from the population. That means every person's individual trajectory within a specific age period frame. But there are two ways to collect data: the period approach and the cohort approach. To understand these two approaches, a diagram is useful: the Lexis diagram. It shows which people are included in the period, which are in the cohort, and which data are complete and which are incomplete. Imagine a river. The river flows with time. Every person is a boat. A boat enters the river when they are born, and it flows with the river as long as they live. Now suppose we only want to look at boats that reached 110. That is, boats that stayed in the river for 110 years. But our observation is only during a specific time period, like a bridge built over the river. Cohort approach. We look at all the boats that entered the river at a specific time. Then we follow them until they either reach 110 or sink. If they reach 110, we see them. If they sink before, we don't. Period approach. We only look at the boats that pass under the bridge during a specific time window. Boats that passed before the bridge was built, we never see. Boats that are currently under the bridge, we see. Boats that will come after, we don't see. This difference between cohort and period approach is crucial. If you use the data without understanding it, you may reach wrong conclusions. When we collect data, we look through a window, a specific time period. Those who died before the window opened, their data is missing. That's left truncation. Those who died inside the window, their data is complete. Those who are still alive when the window closes, their data is incomplete. We know they are alive, but we don't know when they will die. That's right censoring. And in some cases, we don't know the exact death date. We only know they died sometime within a range. That's interval censoring. Japan's example. Before, if a name disappeared from the annual list, it was assumed they died. But after 2006, only those who consent appear on the list. Now, a name disappearing no longer guarantees death. That's why Japan's data has interval censoring. We know the person was on the list, then wasn't, but we don't know the exact death date. Validation methods vary from country to country. In some countries, birth certificates are available. There, validation is easier. In others, only census records exist. There, validation is harder. In the earlier IDL, there were two levels of validation: fully validated, where early life documents were found; carefully checked, other validated cases. But in the new IDL, this classification is gone, because establishing formal criteria to distinguish the two levels proved difficult. Instead, each country has a metadata file. These detail the documents used for validation and the entire process. This metadata is the user manual for the data. Without it, the data is hard to understand. In France and England and Wales, the number of semi-supercentenarian candidates was enormous. Validating all of them was too expensive. So what did researchers do? Sample validation. Instead of validating the entire list, they validated only a random sample.
In France, a sample of 100 candidates was taken, a few records from each age group. Then, based on how many of these 100 were validated, they estimated the validation probability for the entire list. This way, we can keep data on all candidates, but only pay the cost of validating the sample. It's not perfect, but it allows us to collect far more data than was previously possible.
In most countries, the validated list includes only those born in that country, because records for foreign-born candidates are often hard to obtain. Even if they are found, checking their reliability is even harder. And if that foreign-born candidate comes from a country with poor records, validation becomes nearly impossible. This is why IDL's data is incomplete for foreign-born individuals. And if we draw population-wide conclusions from this incomplete data, those conclusions can be wrong. IDL's data is organized by country. For each country, there can be 4 files: alive 110 plus, dead 110 plus, alive 105 to 109, dead 105 to 109. Each country also has a metadata file. It contains details on the data collection process and validation method. Every record includes birth date, death date, current residence, everything. But names are not provided for privacy. And the documents used for validation, birth certificates, census records, are all documented in the metadata. This structure was created so that the data would be consistent, and researchers, whether in France or Japan, can use the data in the same format. Today, IDL contains data from 15 countries, 1,304 validated supercentenarians. Of these, 138 are still alive, most of them in Japan. The first supercentenarian, born in 1852, died in 1962. The last, born in 1906, reached age 110 in 2016. Semi-supercentenarians, ages 105 to 109, number 18,590. Of these, 4,197 are alive. France and England used sample validation, so their numbers are higher. In the US, semi-supercentenarian data is only sample validated, covering about 10% of the universe. These numbers are not just numbers, they show a clear trend. The number of people reaching extreme ages has been increasing each decade, and this trend is likely to continue. When we look at these numbers, 1,304 supercentenarians, 18,590 semi-supercentenarians, we forget that behind these numbers are human beings. The people who lived to 105, 110, 115 years, and the researchers who spend years, document by document, checking. Every verified record is a person's entire life. Every validated case is a journey that spans centuries, and every metadata file is the diary of that journey. This data is not just numbers, it is the story of those who pushed the boundaries of human life. IDL doesn't just give data, it gives metadata, the key to understanding the data. If you use a period approach but look at data from a cohort approach, left truncation can cause you to underestimate mortality rates. If you ignore the sample structure in sample-validated data, you cannot accurately estimate validation probabilities. If you forget to account for the exclusion of foreign-born individuals, you may draw wrong conclusions for the whole population. All of this is written in the metadata, and this metadata is the foundation of the science of extreme longevity. Because in the end, data is only as useful as our understanding of it. IDL's journey began with a simple idea. To understand extreme longevity, we need the right data. But the right data is not just numbers. It is the Lexis diagram, showing the intersection of time and age. It is the validation process, testing every record. And it is the metadata, the key to understanding the data. And this journey is not over. Every year, new records are verified, new countries join, new researchers become part of this system. and every new verified case adds another star to this constellation. Next time you hear a story about a supercentenarian, remember, behind that record there is a system, one that measures, verifies, and safeguards the lives that push the boundaries of human existence. If today's story made you think about the systems behind the data, then please share this video, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe to this channel, because in the videos ahead, we'll go even deeper into the databases, the diagrams, the lives that help us understand the mystery of extreme longevity. See you in the next story.